So at our initial Transformational Technology Queensland chapter meetup, we had Kim Serafini from Positive Prime and Henry Boulton from FocusBand present, and so it's been a month. They're going to give us an update on the awesomeness that they've been up to. So I'm going to throw it to these guys. Over to you.
One of the greatest values, I think, of these kinds of groups is that whilst they're intimate, we have a chance to actually get to know each other. And last month, I spoke first, and Henry was sitting in the audience, but I didn't know who he was at that stage, but I could see this person fidgeting. I was thinking, what on earth is that about? But he was actually probably just excited about what I was saying because he'd already started to figure out how he could integrate what we were doing. When he stood up and started speaking, I nearly didn't breathe for 20 minutes. Well, I got so excited about this gorgeous piece of kit I've now got on my head. Right, so the next day, he did an experiment with a headband on that is really a very fancy performance EEG device. And he watched a Positive Prime session because he'd already set up an account, and he sent me a text message that was a photograph of his brain frequency, these squiggly lines, and he said, "Do you have time for a coffee?" Right? Weirdly, both of us, Brisbane and Noosa, had travelled and stayed overnight, so I said, "Oh, let's catch up for a coffee." 7 hours later, we left that coffee, right? We had a beautiful opportunity to go and present, introducing Positive Prime to a group of employees in a manufacturing environment. And we were meeting with the head of this particular plant. And I thought, what better way but to go and see if we can sell our idea before we've even actually figured out what it is and how it works. And Henry and I literally showed up and we presented together. It was absolutely beautiful, and they said yes. Yeah, right. Unbelievable. So both of us are expanding what we're doing, definitely in corporate and enterprise and business. Both of us have a really compelling, I suppose, sell. We have lots of added benefit, lots of value, and we really know how we're going to deliver it. But we are so sexy together compared to actually going it alone, right? So for the very first time, even though I could say to you, a Positive Prime session is like 1,000 flashcards of scientifically selected, stunning images and really very carefully crafted words that will actually literally change your brain, I can now prove it. And so people were saying, "Oh wow, there's such pretty pictures." And I'm like, yeah, they are really very. But now, wait till you see what happens to gamma rays and theta. And I didn't even know what these words were a month ago. So I've been on a deep dive.
Yes, oh yeah, I think the collaboration is the thing that really is amazing about this group, that we all cross over. But I don't think we're competing. I think we're all sort of we're going in the same direction. Let's just try and team up and see what can happen.
And see what we can do. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So this morning on Zoom, I have a woman who works with us who's in Pennsylvania, a woman who works for us in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're both different kinds of professionals. One's a licensed social worker, the other's a business coach. And then there was Henry and me. We're all in different locations, and we actually were going through an experiment of group flow. We're all watching the same piece of content and seeing how our brain waves or our frequency synced. Well, what was...
I'm going to start it while you...
Okay, what was beautiful was that Henry and I had a suspicion about what might happen because, of course, we may have tried this a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. He's actually just making sure he's breathing while I'm talking.
Yeah, we're both in red at the moment. Okay.
So, you want to explain what red is?
So red is when we're thinking too much, too conscious. So we want to get back into like a subconscious flow state. So at the moment, we probably should be breathing a bit better. So let's see if we can...
Do the Wim Hof.
That's better. Okay. There we go.
Oh.
Now, my head's on the left and Kim's is on the right, hopefully. Sorry. Depends on which way you're looking at the screen. I'm on the left looking from that side. Yeah.
Well, clearly because I'm Kimbo.
Yeah, so what we can do is, at the moment we've just got it around the round table, but in about 20 seconds we're going to bring up... Oops.
So do we, no, do you want us to leave?
No, that'd be mine.
Oh, it's yours. Okay.
So what actually happens is you open up the app, no matter where you are in the world, and there's 10 people, and effectively you're watching the same piece of content. So Henry's already figured out how to embed our content, and we've already figured out what we need to do to create the API. It's absolutely extraordinary. We can actually customize this, so we can put in memories, which is fantastic actually for your population. So we were already doing some of those trials. Henry's already doing an incredible contribution to a trial in mental health in the United Kingdom. It's really very, very exciting. And so all of a sudden we were just like, let's see if we can help each other. We know we're working with some people in Monte Carlo who have funding based out of London. I've actually already pitched Henry's business into what they're doing. So it's interesting because it doesn't take very much for us to actually create magic. And quite frankly, Troy, you're the one that is facilitating it. So in terms of vision, it's unbelievable. I can't be in flow while I'm talking. It's just crazy. But this morning, basically the people who are involved in my team were like, oh, we did it for what, 5 minutes? Like, imagine if you did like healing intention circles, or imagine if you've got a group of executives who are actually all really thinking about the vision and the values of the company. It's just, this is just so revolutionary. It's just.
So, yeah, we can have up to 12 people at once. Obviously, there's only 2 of us here, but then we can show an average of the group, which really starts to excite us when we can. Literally, we can scale up as big as we want. We've started at 12, but we can, obviously, the way we've written it, can scale up to as many people as we can get involved. Yeah. So, it can be 1,000, 2,000 people eventually, all with the same intent, and see what happens. Yeah, see how we can start changing the world together.
So we did this little clinic on Sunshine Coast, and we had a father and a son come along, and the son had special needs and had effectively been told that there was something wrong with his brain and his developmental learning possibilities. And in 20 minutes, you should have seen Henry actually guiding this child and learning how to breathe and believing in himself. And the child, for the very first time, actually realised he has a brain. No, I mean, for real, right? So we actually changed the trajectory of this child's life for the rest of his life, because he's actually, people have joked to him like he doesn't have a brain, but he does. And Henry actually does these incredible drills where he teaches really awareness and focus and what being in flow is like. And so this child literally started to breathe differently, he's been for 12 years at school being told that he can't focus and he can't pay attention. He can pay attention absolutely perfectly, can't he?
Yeah, it was basically just teaching how to move his awareness to the right, or in the right sequence.
And he was getting neurofeedback about it directly from the headband.
Feedback.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so then we tried with a mother and a daughter. The daughter really wants to study medicine. She's in her final years. She gets anxiety before any examinations. And we wanted her to actually learn how to use positive prime sessions to really calm down, and in an accelerated learning format. Anyway, so I had the mother actually watch whilst the daughter had the headband on, and we showed her some different things to do. And I have to say this out loud. The actual value wasn't necessarily for the daughter. It was so that the mother could see that the daughter can actually manage her own anxiety. I think we actually literally changed the mother more than we did the daughter in that one session. Because the mother now knows that she has the tools, and she could see just by the reaction and what was happening, and she didn't have overactive beta, right? So she was like, wow, my daughter is even more amazing than I thought. Anyway, so that particular daughter, yeah, maybe. I'd say that, exactly. But here's the cool thing. What we actually did was we showed them, because the beautiful thing about a FocusBand is it gives something objective and evidence-based for human beings who are naturally cynical and skeptical to actually latch on to. right? And so that mother and daughter have now been watching Positive Prime sessions twice a day, every day for the last week. And this morning reported that the daughter was for the very first time writing a speech, and she's got terrible anxiety around speaking in public. And she can never remember, like she can't memorize her speeches, but she perfectly memorized the speech for the first time. And so it's those tiny little touch points, and then expand that out and multiply it. It's because basically Troy invited us both to speak. Did you see what happened? Because both of you saw each other speak. You immediately said, oh, I know that CEO, right?
There's a connection straight away.
Right. It's it's phenomenal. So I think if we can build out this community and we can continue to bring like-minded souls here, we will create something miraculous.
Yeah, what I would love, and I think having Troy in charge is, because I lived in the Bay Area and I'm American too, but what I would love to see, and for Australia, especially Southeast Queensland, is for us to work out a way to collaborate together in an effective way where everyone wins, so that we can compete with the world instead of competing with each other. And I see this even because I'm a scientist, and doctors north and south of the river competing in Brisbane, north and south of the river. I'm like, there is a world out there that you're meant to be competing
Like
with.
really?
Yeah. And I look at all of this and I think, wow, imagine if, you know what I mean? If we can make it go around a bit.
It is about having that shared vision and that scalability. I think, I've been recently, as part of the space, forced to collaborate, but there was no real need to collaborate. It actually was dysfunctional. But I can see the synergies in this, as long as we're, and looking at transformational technologies and the entrepreneurs we're supporting, it is about, how can we help you to scale internationally? And there are definite ways that you guys can plug into each other, and we've all got our own individual networks, so it just makes sense. And every other chapter out there is vying to be, the hub in the world for this sort of place. But we, I think we can do it. I think we.
It takes a certain mindset.
Well,
Leadership, normally.
well, I
What
guess
she's saying is you've got it.
It's good that you redo.
I'll take that. I take that as a compliment. And this is a shout out to one of the startups that is part of as part of the space. And if any of you guys got shirts, I'd be happy to wear them for you. That way, every time someone asks about it, I can go, oh yeah, good. And I can talk about it.
Preferred colour?
Black and blue.
Black and blue. Alright.
Black and blue.
We can do blue.
Yeah. Do you guys have much more do you want to cover off?
No, I thought we'd just keep it short and sweet for tonight. Yeah, we're really interested in both talks tonight. I am anyway. I think there's great synergy straight up with all four products. Yeah, I think they all fit really well with each other.
Yeah,
We can work out how to make that
and
all work.
I think the umbrella of TransTech is excellent because of the three pillars, which is what exactly what you're all trying to do.
Yeah, I think we can answer all three pillars quite well. Like we've got the tool that can measure all of that with all like interventions going across as well.